guys, so today we're gonna do a really relaxed and laid back video. I'm gonna do Q&A. So if you don't know, you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter. Usually I post more on Instagram when it comes to Q&As. Okay, so first question, who did you consider a role model when you were younger? So it's actually a question I get quite frequently and I never really know how to answer because I don't think I've ever had quite a role model. I've met obviously really inspiring people for different reasons. My parents really are inspiring to me because of how devoted they were to my sister and I, and how open-minded they were and how loving. I mean, I don't know why I speak about them in the past tense. They still are. Authors that I really admire, you know, are inspiring to me. Jesus, I know it sounds kind of strange. I guess Jesus could be the one thing that's the closest to a role model to me. How can I become better, more fluent while speaking French? By the way, I love your videos. Thank you. So I guess the key for any language is practice. Like, I know that people are waiting for like the answer that's gonna be different from everything they've heard before, and that's gonna be like, wow, suddenly the light's happening in the room. But no, really practice. What are your thoughts on Buddhism? It would be cool to hear. So a lot of people are asking me about Buddhism. I think maybe because of the fact that I'm vegan, the fact that, you know, I love Japan and I've been traveling and stuff, maybe they think I'm into Buddhism. I'm really not that much into Buddhism. When I was younger, I read a lot of books about Buddhism, but I think it's because something in the West that's been, you know, cut from like a lot of its history, a lot of its political consequences as well. Hi, how do you explain the fact that some people need to extend their own belief to the world, like eating meat is good or homosexuality is unnatural? That's actually a really good question, and that's something I wonder about every single day of my life. I think a lot of these people are either trying to reassure themselves. You know, when it comes to homosexuality, for example, I think people are so scared and so misinformed that a lot of them fear that maybe homosexuals are going to convert everyone to homosexuality, or maybe it's going to destroy families, or maybe it's going to endanger whatever it is that they really are, you know, holding to. I think for a lot of people it's also just the fact that they hate everything that's different. For a lot of people it's about power as well. For a lot of people it's about money. I think for a lot of people it's just about the fact that they don't want to realize they were wrong. So instead they're putting the blame on others and trying to silence others. What do you think about astrology? Could you say what is your moon and Venus? Okay, I don't really remember. I know I have an astral chart or whatever, but I don't know where it is. I do believe in astrology actually. People might be surprised, I don't know. Yeah, I do believe in that. I'm an Aquarius, and I feel like it says a lot about me. How do you deal with the hateful comments you get all the time on YouTube? Do you sometimes think of stopping your videos because of those? I really hope not. Okay, how do I deal? Well, I block and I delete. The fact of the matter is YouTube isn't really giving us any really efficient tools to be safe on YouTube, which is a shame and something I'm really disappointed at YouTube for. But yeah, I just block, I just delete. I don't take them personally. I oftentimes don't read them. I mean, don't read them completely, you know. It's difficult, you know. I guess for me it's not too much of an issue. I don't feel very threatened, I don't feel very uncomfortable, I don't feel hurt, but I can see how it could be the case for some people. Do you sometimes think of stopping your videos because of those? Not really. I guess it's not solely because of that. Sometimes I do think of stopping YouTube, but I think it's mostly a combination of different things. It's, you know, it's the fact that I put so much work into it and I don't really feel like I get anything back, and I'm at a stage in my life where it's not something that works really well for me. Like I just wish, I don't know, I just wish I could feel more accomplished on YouTube. I don't know how to explain that. So it's mostly like the money thing, the comment thing, the hate thing, the threat thing, the passive aggressive comments, which are really difficult to deal with. The fact that YouTube doesn't really make it possible anymore for small YouTubers or medium YouTubers or YouTubers who talk about certain things to be more known. What do you think about, okay, how do you say that in English? Euthanasia? I'm 100% for it. I just really like, actually it's one of the most important laws that I would like to see passed in my lifetime in France. You know, not getting too personal, but my grandmother had a stroke about 2 years ago, and she survived, but she cannot speak anymore. She cannot really move around anymore at all because she's paralyzed, like half of her body is paralyzed. She recognizes us, and yeah, but we don't really know what's going on inside of her brain, and I'm sure she's in a lot of pain, and I know for a fact, because I know my grandmother very well, that she would have liked to die instead of being in that state, and I would have been exactly the same. So I just find it so, honestly, so awful that some people would refuse the right for someone to die decently when they want to, and instead they keep them in so much pain and so much, like, it's so easy to take that decision when you're not the one having to be changed or having to be washed by someone else, or not being able to move anymore, or not being able to express yourself, or not being in pain. It's something I feel very strongly about, honestly. What's your favorite movie? I don't have one favorite movie. I have a few favorite movies. Well, maybe my favorite movie would be Before Sunrise. Ever feel lonely all of the time? Recently, a friend told me they don't buy bananas because of bad working condition and environmental impact. I gawked because I love bananas and I hadn't really confronted that issue in my mind. What are your thoughts about ethical consumerism in general, and specifically, do you not buy certain produce because of that? It's a very tough question, actually. Yes, for example, I don't buy quinoa anymore because I know it's quite bad. I try to buy fruits and vegetables that are produced in France most of the time when I can, but I'm not gonna lie, I still buy mangoes, I still buy sweet potatoes, and they're not from France. So I try my best, but I also feel like it is not the most detrimental thing, and it's not the most hurtful and damageful thing to the environment. So I'm focusing on other really big things that I can change a lot more easily, like being vegan. Your videos are always so interesting and smoothly. Do you prepare them before tuning, or do you have some points to talk about and then you just speak as it goes? I sometimes plan them, like videos about literature, I usually plan them. Some videos I have a little bit of a script going on, but most of my videos are quite spontaneous and I just think about them a little bit and then I record. Why are you interested in the LGBT plus question and what do you think about it? Well, I'm interested because as an asexual I don't really fit. I mean, personally I don't feel like I'm part of the LGBTQ whatever, but I also don't feel like I'm straight, so yeah, and I can understand, you know, how it feels to be rejected and discriminated against because of your sexual orientation or your gender identity. I just feel strongly about any sort of injustice in the world. So yeah, but what do I think about it? I mean, there are so many different things, you know, it depends. I think we are seeing a lot of improvements, but it's also very problematic because it's improvements mainly for the rich, mainly for the whites. I think I would love to see more intersectionality in the LGBTQ movement, and I also think I would really like it to be less hypersexualized, because I think it's not helping everyone in the community. How do you feel about other humans, having friends, opening up about relationships in general? Whoa, that's a tough question. How do I feel about other humans? I don't know. Sometimes I really love human beings, and I'm someone who's, you know, instinctively gonna help anyone I see that's in a difficult situation. But if I'm more like on a logical and intellectual position, I think that the human species is like the worst thing that ever happened on Earth. Having friends, I think it's really important, but it's actually very rare, and a lot of the people that people call friends are not really friends in reality. Opening up is really easy for me. Not about everything, but about the vast majority of things I don't really care. Relationships, They're a lot of work, they're a lot of commitment, and they really need to be based on communication and trust. I'm very curious about your personality. There is such Myers-Briggs personality test. Have you ever done it? It would be really interesting to know which one of the personality types you are. I think I am an INFJ type. J. Listen to any Korean bands or groups? Yes, I love Korean indie music. I love Standing Egg. I love 10 centimeters. I love Nell. I love a lot of things that don't really come to mind right now. While visiting a new country, we are trying to get better acquainted with its culture. Don't you think that being vegan is something that restrains person from some parts of that knowledge because of impossibility of trying some traditional dishes? How can that experience be replaced by any different activities, and what can it be? Thank you for your channel and for your answer. Thank you. Well, I think I've touched about that. I've touched on this subject in a very old video. You know, when I'm going to a country, I don't expect to fully embrace the culture, and I don't expect to agree with everything. Just like I don't embrace every part of the French culture, and I'm not interested in all parts of the French culture, and I'm not willing to take part in everything that's French. If I go to Spain, for example, yes, I'm gonna be really interested in discovering the nightlife and the more laid-back rhythm and the beautiful architecture, and perhaps just the music and the dance and everything, but I'm not interested in bullfights, and I'm not interested in eating fish. You know, just because it's another culture, it doesn't really mean that I have to respect everything and I have to agree with everything. If it were some bad treatments against or towards human beings, we would never talk about culture to protect it or try to legitimate it in any sort of way, or legitimize, what's the word? I don't know. If you could go to one concert for free, what artist would you choose? Wow, that's a good question. That's a good question, actually. Oh no, I know. Depeche Mode. The reason why I haven't seen Depeche Mode yet is because they always go to those huge venues, and I don't like that. So I would go to their concert for free and get really close to the stage. Any movie show recommendation you consider everyone should watch at least once? Earthlings? Okay. What made you interested in visiting Iran? The architecture, the culture, the history, just how beautiful it is, the people. Who are the 5 women who influenced or are influencing you the most? It's a really difficult question. I don't know, guys. Why do you have so many difficult questions? I would say Sylvia Plath really inspired me. I would say my mom really inspired me. I would say that Mary Shelley is really inspiring. Wow, that's so difficult. I don't know. Nawal El-Saadawi as well. Which books would you suggest to someone who's trying to find themselves within a political orientation? Oh god, that's so difficult. I really don't know. I think you should definitely read things about communism. I think you should definitely read things about communitarism, about capitalism, and you should read things about colonialism as well, and you should also read things about Orientalism as well, and bring in something about religion. And if you read about those things, I feel like it could be easier for you to know what you think of politics. How do you deal with the pressure coming from your family regarding your studies, and how long is it taking you to get a degree? I haven't been pressured by my parents ever. My parents are amazing and they've never pressured me. I'm pressuring myself because I don't want to be a burden to them anymore. How long is it taking you to get a degree? I already have 2 degrees. I have a Master 1, I don't know how it's called in English, let's just say Masters, but only the first year in linguistics, and I have a full Masters in literature. How do you deal with your social anxiety? I try to know it's not my fault, and I try to be caring with myself, know my limits, and be open about it so that people understand me and don't think I'm just a weird person. Hello, are you interested in Chinese literature? Yes, but I don't know anything, so teach me. Would you ever turn off... Okay, that's an interesting question. Would you ever turn off YouTube comments one day and bring it over to Patreon so no rude idiots comment? That's a really good question. I've been thinking about it for a while now. I'm gonna be honest. I've been thinking of it, but I feel like it'd be... You know, I feel like not everyone wants to support me on Patreon, which I can understand. Even though if you want to support me, link is gonna be down below. It really is important for me and really helps. I feel like, you know, it'd be perhaps a really good idea because, you know, you would only have to pledge $1 a month, and that way you'd be able to comment on my videos, and that would hopefully make it so much better for everyone, because it's one thing that I am attacked by comments, but I also see a lot of positive and really nice people commenting and being then attacked or insulted, and that's something I really don't like, and it's really hard to moderate all the comments, and I don't want to take any external moderators because I just don't want to do that. So that would be a really I think positive thing for myself and for the channel, but I also feel like it'd be perceived very negatively by everyone, and I don't want it to be seen and perceived as a pressure for people to support me on Patreon. So yeah, I've been thinking about it. I think it'd be a great idea because honestly, I don't think... I'm gonna make a video about comments on YouTube. I don't think that comments are majoritarily, or like most of the comments are actually constructive or useful or anything positive really. And quite sometimes actually they can be quite the opposite. Some people don't feel like they can comment because they don't want to be attacked. Some comments really influence other people watching the video, so that would be something really positive, I think, but I don't think I'm going to do it. Do you plan on making a travel vlog on one of your destinations this year? Yes, hopefully, if I can travel somewhere, I will definitely vlog, and hopefully I can make a really interesting vlog, but also try to film like more different kinds of videos related to the place I'm going to be traveling to. Do you speak Spanish? Do you wish to learn another language than Arabic in the future? I don't speak Spanish. I'm really focusing on Arabic, and I want to pick up Japanese again. Is French a language you would encourage people to learn? What are your favorite languages in the world? I would absolutely encourage people to learn French because I think it's a beautiful language. It's a very interesting one when it comes to grammar and vocabulary and stuff. If you love languages, it can be a really interesting challenge. Also because the French literature is amazing. You know, French literature is actually the one that has won the most Nobel Prizes in literature, and it's beautiful, so reading those books in their original language would be amazing. My favorite languages, I really love English. American English and in the Northeast is my favorite. I really like Japanese and Korean, and I love Arabic. I also like German. And yeah, that's it. Last question, what's your taste in music? And after that, that's gonna be over because it's a long video, but hopefully it's interesting for you guys. My taste in music, it's kind of difficult to answer that. I love classical music. Actually, you know what? I'm very eclectic, but also very picky. So first of all, I hate rap. I've never listened... What's that? Okay. I never listened to rap. I really don't like it at all for a lot of different reasons. But R&B sometimes for one song, that's okay if I listen to it just once. I like classical music. I like indie pop, I guess, sometimes. I like metal, I think. I do like some... yeah, you know what? I do love some Green Day. I do love some My Chemical Romance. I do love myself some of those bands they used. The All American Rejects, that kind of stuff that I used to listen to when I was younger. I really love Japanese rock, like heavy rock with a little bit of a metal influence to it, but I also love just smooth, quiet, calm indie pop, indie music sometimes. But yeah, mostly rock, I guess. That's my soul turned into music. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I hope I answered your questions. I actually answered as many questions as I could. If you want to support me on Patreon, links are gonna be down below. It's really helping me with keeping making regular videos, and my links are gonna be down below. Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, you know. I will see you later, guys. Bye!